Hi everybody. So today I want to talk more about anxiety. We started that yesterday, and yesterday we talked about signs that you have anxiety, and we specifically talked about sleeplessness and physical pain. And today I want to talk about alcohol. So before I dive into that, so for those of you that are new here, my name is Sally Harris, and I help desperate moms of defiant adult children. I help them create a plan by giving them strategies and techniques to overcome anxiety and be able to live with peace and hope. So with that said, at the end of the video, I will put a link below to a discovery call, which is a free 30-minute call with me to discuss what's going on with your adult child and how it's affecting you as a mom. So let's get started. I have read that 60% of alcohol users start using alcohol because of anxiety, or it prolongs their usage, and it's because of anxiety. And so the question is, do you feel that with the situation with your adult child, do you feel that, are you drinking too much? Or even other substances, any addictions, those types of things. I say this with a lot of experience as well. I've been sober for almost 4.5 years. I actually shared my sobriety story probably about 3 years ago for the first time. And the very first time I did it, I remember saying that I didn't think that I had a problem prior to the stress in my life with my child, because it was such extreme chronic stress. But I don't think that was true. The more work I do on myself, I think that I had a tendency towards the addiction long before that. So regardless, I say that because I want you to understand that there's no judgment here. And I'm also not saying that if you are a casual drinker that you have a problem. I'm just saying it's something that you really need to be aware of, because trust me, it sneaks up on you quite quickly. So to dive into here, so as far as, with the anxiety, why do we start drinking? Well, obviously it's to numb the pain, right? So when we stop being able to enjoy the things that we used to do, stop enjoying your family, friends, and things like that. If you're unable to do that without alcohol, obviously that's another sign too. It is very real. Anxiety changes our body chemistry, and truly it's no different than having, high blood pressure, or maybe you have diabetes or arthritis, and no one judges you for those types of things, right? But when it comes to anxiety, it's kind of like a hush-hush type thing. I think nowadays it's getting a little bit more common that people aren't afraid or embarrassed to say that they have it, but it's very real. And I don't know any of us who don't suffer from it at one point or another. Some of us have it debilitating, which obviously, that could definitely be a problem. So signs that your stress and your alcohol use has gotten the best of you, gotten to the point where that you would probably need to take a look at it. So, and these are personal experiences with me. I used to live in a smaller town, and before I knew it, I was going to different liquor stores or grocery stores to buy my alcohol. And I didn't even do it on purpose at first, and then I realized I was like rotating, because I didn't want that person or the liquor store to know that I was purchasing alcohol every other day or whatever it was. Excuse me. So that was something that really triggered me to realize that I had a problem. That was one of the first things for me, actually. Number 2 is going to bed with a drink. A lot of times you have a glass of wine or whatever, and you go to bed because you're going to finish watching a show, and I would wake up with a glass of alcohol on my bedstand every day. And the time where it really bothered me was the morning that I woke up and I thought it was water, and it was vodka. Actually, in the middle of the night, I woke up to get a drink and I thought it was a glass of water, and it was vodka. So that also startled me quite a bit. A lot of weight gain. I gained over 75 pounds. Not saying it was all from alcohol, but the alcohol combined with really poor food choices there for a while definitely was a huge deal for that. My husband doesn't even know this one yet, but I guess when he watches the video, he will. But I couldn't wait for him to leave the house on weekends, because when he left the house to go golfing or whatever he was doing, that gave me a license to be able to start. So finding an acceptable reason why we can start drinking at noon. You know, there's lots of country songs about that, but truly, that's another thing that was a factor for me. And then also when you realize that 1 or 2 drinks are not enough. I had a lot of friends who could just go have a drink or two and they were fine and didn't desire more. I never knew what that felt like. And so that's why I know for me, I will never have another drink there as long as I live, because it's not worth the risk of getting into that cycle again. And a lot of people say, but the majority of my stress is gone. Why don't you try? It's not worth it to me. I'm healthier without it. I'm better without it. I'm a better mom. I'm a better wife. I'm a better gam. All those things. And, you know, you really do learn who your friends are in the process, unfortunately. So with that, so if that is you, I would encourage you to not wait until you have a health crisis, because that is what happened to me, and I'll share that another time. But that literally, I made a decision overnight to quit, and thanks to God, I was successful. Because if you'd have told me that I'd be able to quit anytime prior to that, because in my mind, I knew that there was an issue, but I didn't know what to do about it. I was too proud to say, I'm struggling, I need help, because then other people would know, and I didn't want that. And so I always thought if I was going to quit, it would have to be through a rehab, and I refused to do that. So in my own mind, I had already said, nope, not happening. So it wasn't until a health crisis where I realized you have to, and I did. So not to say it was easy, but it's definitely worth it. So as far as making the choice to stop, it's not like it was overnight, like, oh, no problems, no cravings, no nothing. It wasn't like that at all. It was, number one, the biggest thing I did is when we all had the time of day when maybe you were going to pour that glass of wine or the drink, you know, usually when I started dinner. So instead of that, you know, I changed things up. I would go for a walk, especially if I had a craving. I'd go for a walk. I do drink kombucha. I drink tea, stuff like that. So I'd have a different drink, you know, while I was cooking dinner. I changed my routine, tons. I had to change my routine. And trust me, there were lots of nights I went to bed really early because it wasn't worth sitting up. If it was 8 o'clock at night, if I was craving, if I wanted a drink, it was easier. You know what? Tomorrow's going to be better. I'm going to bed. And I don't have to do that anymore. But in the beginning, I did. And that's okay. And change up who you hang out with. If you're hanging out with people that are not understanding and going to support you, then you need to find some new friends. And that's hard. And people don't like to believe that they have to do that. But you might have a few people that don't support you, but you're going to have so many more that do. And they're amazing. They're amazing friends. There's no judgment. So there's no judgment, no shame. There's so much stigma around the anxiety, and there's so much stigma around addiction. And so I'm just here to tell you that you don't have to feel shame. And I just encourage you to reach out. I'd love to chat with you if that's the case. But reach out to someone because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of help available out there. So again, I'll put the link to my discovery call below if you're wanting to chat about your situation with your adult child. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.